welcome back to another episode of the Open Source Cafe podcast. And today I have my good friend Sanskar with me. Sanskar, thanks a lot for joining on the show. Would you like to tell our viewers a little bit more about yourself?
First of all, thank you for inviting me, Kunal. So, hi everyone, my name is Sanskar. I'm a software engineer at Bloomberg London in London. I graduated from Delhi Technological University. I majored in electrical engineering, and apart from that, I have been a software developer since I was 12 years of age. And apart from spending all my time in front of computers, I have a special passion towards music, watching dog pictures, and sometimes also polishing my design skills.
Amazing. And I decided to, bring Sanskar on the show because most of the questions, I get in DMs as well, in the community as well. I'm not able to answer every single one of those. That's why we get, people like Sanskar on the show, and also the perspective of various folks. So I met Sanskar in my first year, and we met at an open source event. He was speaking around for like Google Summer of Code or something. That's when I sort of saw the passion that when you meet a few folks, you see the passion they have for technology, and over the few years, then when they graduate and stuff, they will be doing amazing things in their career. And that's sort of like the mindset I want you folks to have as well if you are in the field to do great things and achieve great things. So thanks a lot for joining, Sanskar, and I hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a good understanding of inside Sanskar's head, like how Sanskar works, because he's been coding since way before 12 years of age. It's a long time. But can you maybe share a little bit more about your journey, like how you starting from 12 years of age and currently and in college life, for example?
Okay. So it is an interesting journey, at least for me. So it started very innocently. It was, I think, around 7 or 8 p.m. It was the evening. I returned home after a toiling school day, and I was just playing gangster in San Andreas. And I had an uncle who was in university at that time, and he was writing a C code to print a pyramid on the screen. And glancing over his shoulder, I realized it is the most magical thing I've ever seen. Because I had seen Matrix around that time, and it is how I viewed him as the hacker or the magician who did magical things on a dark black screen. So that is how I constantly bugged him to teach me computer science. He taught me how to create HTML websites by just dragging and dropping pictures on a Word docs and renaming it to HTML. That is how my first introduction to programming or computer science was done. And let's just say the rest of history probably.
Amazing. And Sanskar has worked. He has worked so hard. You can see that via his GitHub profile. I often say things like, if you want to get good opportunities, be active on socials, be active on Twitter, be active on LinkedIn. And that's not always the case, which is what I always say, that if you are, if you love development, if you love building things in public, even if you're not tweeting so much like me, but you're still building amazing things and doing cool shit, you will get to so many amazing places. Oftentimes when I'm live streaming, I say that, you all think that, okay, Kunal is this, Kunal is that, he's, Kunal Via, please help us or whatever. And you are so good at development or whatever. And I often quote that you only see the outside picture because I'm really active on socials. There are people who are much better than me, much more knowledgeable than me, and much more better at development, for example, and in their careers, for example. So I give these examples, and Sanskar is one of those people, right? His development skills and open source skills, and it's pretty next level. So this is what I'm trying to explain to you all, that no, that's what I'm saying, Ki. It's not about just sharing the good work you do or just making posts or whatever. But people like Sanskar, you may not have seen him on Twitter, right? But the things that he has achieved, and the network that he has, and the work that he's doing right now on off campus, he got I can't even list so many opportunities, with open source, and with, I think you got some FANG opportunities in Europe as well when you were in your for the internship, and now you're at London in Bloomberg. And he did all of this via off campus. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe open source played a huge role in your journey. So can you share a little bit more about this graph of your career and what actually helped you in achieving the things that you have, for example, achieved right now?
Okay. 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 So I started with open source in my first year. I was introduced to open source through a university lecture that was happening, and they told me what open source actually was. I had used applications like VLC and other, like I had sometimes also used Tor to fiddle around things. But I knew that they were open source, but I only thought that only long hair magicians behind the screens develop software like this. I never knew that I could actually contribute to them as well. Then I started contributing to an organization called Forsatia. I found a project that I really liked. It was called Suzy.ai. And then I got selected in GSOC. I worked my way towards that, met with so many people, met with so many knowledgeable people who were able to mentor me, uh, connect me with the opportunities. Like Kunal always says, grow your network. I was able to meet with more knowledgeable people outside my university and work on large code bases, large scale code bases. This is one of the most valuable skills that I gained because in university, you may write like some Python scripts here and there. You may write a few DSA code, but you don't actually get the opportunity to work on large code bases. And whenever you try to apply for job opportunities or any opportunities elsewhere, they always have this catch 22. We won't give you experience without you having an experience. How do you gain that experience? This was one of the way I got a lot of experience on working with large code bases. So yeah, and the most important thing that open source like taught me was collaboration instead of competition, because we have been working since our childhood to compete, like a competitive exam to enter universities. We have relative CGPAs in our universities, so there's still competition among students. But whereas in open source, you do not compete with someone else to raise your PR. You work collaboratively, you pair program, you collaborate on projects. And this was an indication on how the real world software engineering is. It's about developing and shipping the product, not like getting more brownie points just for the sake of doing something.
Yeah, could not agree more. And that's what we keep saying, that it's all about collaboration instead of competition. And one thing I'd really like to talk to you about, Sanskar, so that others can learn from it and take inspiration as well, is projects. It's like personal projects. And you have done some like really amazing projects, and we'll talk more about Robin as well. So can you maybe share your motivation behind creating projects? You've taken part in some amazing hackathons as well around the world,
Yeah.
and you've also we've been involved with some US universities working on their Android stuff. So you can see touching all the domains. But can you maybe share a little bit more about, let's say, Robin, for example, and what is your thought process when you are building a personal project and how you are scaling Robin right now? For everyone else, Sanskar is also like not from a computer science degree. It's electrical or
Yes, it's
electronics.
electric.
Electrical. So he's from an electrical degree, and he did, you can, that's what we're trying to tell you, that skills matter more. So have a good, your GitHub profile or whatever. But we are also doing a giveaway in this session. So we'll be giving away like some Robin swag, like t-shirts and stickers or whatever. And Sanskar will also be doing a one-on-one mentorship session with you, the giveaway winners. Then you can ask him about anything. But Sanskar, can you maybe share a little bit more about like Robin and how folks can take part in the giveaway?
Yeah. So firstly, let's talk about Robin, and then I'll tell you the instructions for giveaway. So it was the final year of my university, and my final year project thesis was approaching. And since I was such a hardworking student, I was spending all my time scrolling Reddit CS threads. And on that thread, one meme was very popular because a fan company decided to use Rust into their projects, use Rust in the kernels in their operating systems. It was rewriting everything in Rust. And since I was such a hard-working university student, I was working on a completely unrelated project called Encrypt and it was an application that was developed using a Flask backend. And I had written Python projects over the course of like past 5 years then, and I always was annoyed that there wasn't an async method to write web frameworks in Flask. I also was developing using JavaScript and TypeScript, so having this async methods really helped me structure my code base and was good for basically organizing my code. So this is when it was like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was probably very delirious. I talked to me, you know, Sanskar, what would be cool if you could create an async flask? And since I was impressioned by that Reddit thread so much, I told myself, you know, what would be cooler if it was written in Rust, by the way. So that is how Robin was created. And how I usually make my personal projects is by spotting a problem and developing a solution to that. It's never like how many people ask me, what project should I make to get this job? Or, "Bhaiya, what project should I do to get selected in FANG or something like that? What would look good on my resume?" I never really cared about that. It's just I find a problem that's affecting me personally, or I find a project that is already addressing that problem and try to make it better throughout throughout the course of time.
That's amazing. And how many folks are using it right now?
It just crossed 150,000 downloads on PyPI yesterday. So
Nice. Nice. Cool, cool.
it's good.
Well, do check it out. You can see this thing, on GitHub, like the rolling thing. But you can also check out the link in the description. In order to take part in the giveaway, first of all, you can also, it's an open source project, so you can contribute to it as well, and check out the open PRs and open issues, and you can
Yes, I'm
use
always
it, and yeah.
contributors. So please do
Yeah,
come.
and share feedback, and I'll leave the links to like the GitHub and the Twitter below. In order to take part in the giveaway, which is the swag and the mentorship session, supporting the community doesn't cost much, but you're just taking part. So this is our way of giving back, and you can do two things. You can start it on GitHub, and you can follow Robin on Twitter. Both the links can be found in the description, and we'll soon be reaching out to you for the as winners. But that is what I wanted to mention. Like the sort of mindset that you mentioned, that what projects do I need to create in order to be in FANG or whatever. I think like this, your love for building things and how the passion starts. I think it's pretty self-explanatory that you do great things. Companies will hire you. That's as simple as it gets. I know folks may have, like, at least I did. I was worried during my freshman year when I did not have much experience or whatever. But by the time I reached my like second year mid or something, I was pretty confident that my career is going to be good because I have nice skills, and I know that there are plenty of opportunities. It's not like overconfidence or whatever. It's more like studying the market, hearing from other people's experiences, and having a little bit trust in yourself as well. So if you are someone who has created a web framework that is being used by 150,000 people and growing every day, I mean, you should not be like, okay, am I qualified enough to find a job? No. So you fight that feeling of qualification with learning and achievements and all these other things. But Sanskar, can you maybe share a little bit more about how you approached uh, these thoughts when you talk about when you were in college, for example? So you need to get an internship, and then you need to get a full-time role. Did you have any like thoughts about backup plans, or how you approached these opportunities? And so you're in London right now, you're working in Bloomberg, and right after your college, right?
Yeah.
So what was your process like to basically get a job or prepare for a job or something?
Okay. So firstly, I actually despise how DSA knowledge is being tested right now. So I was very against DSA because how people are treating DSA is just asking a bunch of questions that you regurgitate through lead code, HackerRank. I was really against that, and my competitive programming skills were not the top level. So the only thing that, firstly, the most important thing is knowing about the opportunities. People usually complain that I would have got in, but I didn't know about it. The major part of your research is about knowing opportunities and how to find them, how to apply to them. So keeping your eyes and ears open is the most important part. Second one is that I used to program every day. I was developing something or the other. It wasn't just one project. If I got bored of the project or if I thought that it was completed, I shifted to a new one. But I was always creating something. So it wasn't like if I wasn't doing data structures, I wasn't sitting idly. My skills were there. And then I think when the job search starts, that is usually in June or July, for me, like the internship search or the job search. I used to do 3 months of DSA before that, and it was just DSA, like making a trade off against my sleep, my health, probably just to get that DSA knowledge until I'm able to crack those opportunities. Because I would have preferred if these DSA interviews didn't exist, but but the world doesn't work according to my perspective. So there's a good thing. So you need to have some DSA knowledge to pass those interviews, apart from your development knowledge.
Yeah, could not agree more. I think it is getting better. I can't tell you about like India, but and I can't really speak about big companies as well because I haven't like worked at really enterprise level. But startups, on the other hand, uh, so where I work right now, for example, Sivo, they didn't ask me about DSA or stuff. Even Red Hat, when I interviewed for Red Hat, they asked me about projects and Kubernetes and all these other things. So obviously, it's the problem is there on a large scale, but I
It's
can see it like getting better because it's not about also finding opportunities. It's about creating opportunities also. So when it was for me, like I'm good at DSA, but not everyone else is. So I know a few friends of mine who are like they try and they try, but they can't do seem to do it. Like it doesn't happen to them. So they were like, we are just not going to, it's not worth it, and we're going to look for opportunities where they don't ask us DSA. For example, maybe it's risky because if you plan to apply to a big tech company, which I highly recommend you to do, because it will look good on your resume, you'll get experience and just that initial push in your career. If you have a nice little company experience, that's great as well. But yeah, better be safe than sorry. So yeah, do DSA, but it's extremely important. Cool. One more thing I want to mention about this is that folks often worry without the preparation. So, for example, they ask about like how do we get into this company or that company or whatever. But they worry about that first, and they often don't worry much about where they stand in terms of knowledge. So you don't know anything about DSA, you don't know any development, you're just starting out. Should you be worrying about your knowledge, or should you be worrying about how to get a job? Obviously, how?
absolutely,
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
absolutely about knowledge, because I don't even remember worrying about job opportunities till like the end of my third year, probably,
Yeah. Hmm.
because I was always programming something or the other, and I was doing it for fun. It wasn't like someone was forcing me, or I was like in a deep meditation competitive zone where
Hmm.
I wanted to learn programming and absorb it. It was just
Yeah.
creating cool things, finding love in what you do, and basically enjoying the process.
Yeah, I could not agree more. So that's sort of like the mindset I want you all to have. I know you won't listen to me. Mindset comes on its own. So
This definitely.
we can't. I'm not saying, or we are not saying that don't worry about getting a job, but worry in stages. Once you are qualified enough, once you have some experience or whatever, then worry about getting a job. Okay, now I need a job. Now I need this or that. But I think if you're on this right track, that building things and doing great things, basically you would have that self confidence in yourself already. It's pretty much about it, and that's like our thought process and everything. Um, just as a closing remark, Sanskar would like to add on to something, and maybe as a reminder for the swag competition as well.
Uh, just a closing statement that stop worrying about things, contribute to open source, contribute to Robin, uh, make cool stuff, and things will turn out good to be if you put in enough effort. And for the giveaway, leave a star on GitHub and follow Robin on Twitter. The links will be present in the description. And we'll be sharing a winner soon, and I'll be reaching out to you with all the details.
Cool. So, just as a reminder, you'll be getting some nice Robin swag, and you'll also be getting a one-on-one mentorship session with Sanskar. You can ask him anything. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining, Sanskar, and thanks everyone for watching as well. Hopefully, you got a nice little insight about how we work, how we think, and I believe, I truly believe there are plenty of opportunities, especially in computer science. So when you're talking about coding related jobs, you are actually lucky that you're in this field because the field is really high paying. There's remote work you can do, and so many opportunities you can take part in. So the only thing that I see folks struggle with is skilling up. Please skill up. and showcase your skills. And that's pretty much about it. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And bye.
Bye.